Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This video is brought to you by all the wonderful channel members and patrons. Thank you for keeping the lights on. If you're interested in helping out, there is a link down below. Anyways, on to the story. To Bear False Witness, written by Majestic Teach 6677. Ethics has nothing to do with this. Councillor Narek of the Denaria growled at the glowing orb representing Councillor Shannara. Damn the sapient had no grandstanding about ethics. More blood covered her hands than graced his during his time with the Security Council, and he was currently directly responsible for the operations which snuffed out over 150,000 humans, with another 100,000 or more soon to come. And she wanted to argue about ethics and morality, when she herself had argued less than a cycle ago that the greater good would be served by halting food shipments to Ferret 5 to starve out dissidents. Over 1 million beings died in a sapient relief accident to get rid of no more than 100,000 agitators within that population. Ethics has everything to do with all actions we take, Narek. We are sentient beings and must always answer to ethics, she preached to me. Ethics and morality are luxuries for those blessed with lasting peace, he snapped back. With humanity, no such peace exists. Defend your position, she hurled back. You are well aware that my vote was provisional by my aide, as I was indisposed when this operation commenced. If proper considerations have not been taken, I will rescind my vote and demand an exit strategy. Indisposed while getting a life extension treatment or another hideous cosmetic adjustment, Narek thought, as the tentacles on his face raised in a rude gesture. Security Council rules for all shadow docket operations require communications limited to voice and text for operational security. Low bandwidth meetings can be hidden amongst the thousands taking place between aides, other government functionaries, and personal communications, where the high encryption bit calls with full data streams draw unwanted attention. Well, this proved a hindrance in reading the body language of the other members. Occasionally, it had the useful aspects. He childishly held up a rude gesture in place as he responded, "The issue is one of power and survival, not ethics," Narek began explaining. "Like the Chagothians and others in history that we have dealt with so vigorously. Humanity represents an existential threat to our way of life. They do not come with threats or phase cannons pointed at us, as the Chagothians blatantly did. But that does not mitigate the danger they represent to the wider galaxy and our long-defined galactic order. This is a path taken for survival, not ethics." "Explain," Shannara said simply. "Humanity at its base is not remarkable on any front," he continued. "Intelligence, physical characteristics, and other traits are well within galactic norms. In each individual area, we can point to another sapient race that exceeds them. But that is not what makes them a danger to the galactic order. There are two things which make them dangerous above others we have encountered before." "Military strength and sizable population," Shannara mused, once again showing her ignorance and lack of foresight. "No, passion and adaptability," Narek responded calmly. "Their military might comes not from their past wars or current paranoia, but their passion. When humans believe in something, they pursue it with a passion that often disregards their own safety. When they find a cause to back, they will often defend it to their dying breath, even if they are proven wrong. They believe passionately about their various factions and individual planets to a point where they built tremendous armadas to defend their intellectual positions. This passion also drove them to build a planet-killing weapon, the exact nature of which is unknown but likely within the scope of the Denarian Starfire platforms." "This speaks to military support, which I already noted as a strength," she responded with irritation in her voice. "How is passion such a peculiar trait? The Chagothians showed passion and dedicated themselves to military might and dominance." "Human passion isn't limited to military pursuits. In addition to science, technology, and artistic endeavors, humans are always, and sometimes even encouraged to explore paths which are already declared unworthy, considered fully explored, or just downright fanciful. They are satisfied to be proven right or wrong, Narek responded professionally, although he still desired to reach tentacles through the voice orb and strangle the woman. We're Chongathians specialized in war and dominance, and use genetic engineering to guarantee strength in those areas. Humans find passion in all areas and encourage the population to find passion in varied pursuits, rather than just focus on one as a species. Politically, how would this passion affect us? Shannara asked, now showing some genuine interest. The universe has shown a true constant. There are those who will have power and lead, and there are those who will not, he responded. Humans reject this proven notion and demand an equality of sapiens' rights and fairness of income distribution. They point to the numerous systems of government they passionately followed in the past, all of which they can point to the flaws and why current systems are supposedly vastly improved. They would, in time, seek to destroy our carefully constructed order, particularly given their current passionate defense of the so-called sapient rights. And adaptability? Shannara asked. Throughout their history, they have explored numerous systems of government, Narek stated firmly. Unlike other sapient species who fell into decline after one system or another collapsed, humanity has risen from the ashes, not once, not twice, but dozens of times. Their recent shift away from war is nothing less than astounding. In less than 50 of their standard years, they have shifted from warring planets to sometimes opposing nations within a planetary system to a unified government across all of their systems. It must be recognized how stable this new system is in such a short period of time. Ultimately, this system could last for the next 1,000 years, or break apart in decades. Either way, humans will adapt and thrive. This means that there will always be a threat. Any further thoughts? She asked. As individuals, they are adaptable. Many will shift between multiple jobs throughout their lives. In a second career, a human may not become an expert, but they will undoubtedly become proficient. An electrician can become a pilot. A baker can become a successful financial instrument trader. A day laborer with creativity can become a celebrated artist, while learning to also run a successful construction business. In this, humans are not limited by cultural norms or intellectual limitations seen in most species. Only once a human gets beyond 50 standard years is their adaptability to learn and adapt more limited. Yet it remains superior to most other sapient races, Narek outlined before taking a moment to gather his thoughts. At their core, adaptability is expected. If something happens, they do not look for outside assistance first. They look within themselves to find solutions before seeking outside help. And this is what we find most dangerous about them, he said forcefully to drive the point home. Indeed, this is one of our concerns in engaging them in open warfare. We are unsure how much of their populace will be willing and able to leave their current vocations and join the war effort. We are concerned the numbers could be significant. Narek paused just a moment before delivering his emphatic conclusion. In summary, the inherent traits in passion and adaptability mean that they are unlikely to accept any form of oversight or subjugation by the Galactic Council. At some point, they will challenge us for supremacy. Best to deal with them now before they are able to expand or build power. Full decimation will not be necessary, but it must be sufficient to keep their population a very small minority so that we might take advantage of them as a species without threats to our continued way of life. Good. I am satisfied that sufficient consideration has been given to the matter, and I will concur that this is indeed a matter of survival of ethics, she conceded, and Narek let go of a quiet sigh of relief. But I have other concerns about ethics which require addressing. How does the Council propose to justify our actions to the greater populace? Narek groaned as he realized the waste of valuable time and air was not yet at an end. Councillor Drennan cut in before Narek could respond. For the greater galaxy, the history of humans makes fighting them easily justifiable, they explained. Even the humans easily admit to the passions which make them so dangerous. After all, passionate but minor differences between human governments threw them into wars against one another. The recent infighting only ended some 50 years ago after passions pushed them to develop a planet-killing device. What would happen if the humans decide to turn their passions against the greater galaxy? How many planets will be destroyed by them? We are already developing propaganda based on their own historical records and publicly available information. I'm forwarding the current list of useful events for review to everyone now and would appreciate feedback from all parties. Nary looked down as the text document arrived and also noted how well Drennan played Sonara. It comes down to a matter of reframing the narrative. Here are our current thoughts on the matter, Drennan continued. The current piece, no more than a lie. They are overtly passionate, which demands that they build military might to defend their viewpoints. Once that strength is built, they historically no longer defend, but attempt to project power over others. This sparks wars with the ultimate goal to dominate. If successful, they use that power to impose their will and change the established order of the losers. They believe such actions set the conquered people free from previous delusions, of course conveniently overlooking their own. It should also be noted that before flexing military might, history reveals they often leverage trading imbalances or other methods of coercion. Recent trade deals with GC races can be exploited as examples of early moves against us. Frame matters in this way, and we expect no issues in gathering support. Drennan paused, and Narek took the opening. Then a quick glance at your proposed list of events for propaganda. I feel there is an additional opportunity to explore, Narek stated, and waited. Oh, and what might that be? Shannara asked skeptically. As the humans say, hook, line, and sinker, Narek thought to himself. In my time as ambassador to the humans, I have been exposed to the occasional instances of anti-alien demonstrations, Narek continued calmly. Granted, these are a very small minority of the human population, but their antics are well documented. We can leverage this to showcase the danger humans present to the greater galaxy, cast doubts in the peacefulness of their leaders behind closed doors, imply their leadership isn't holding to peaceful aims, unlike the Galactic Council, which has over 1,000 of their years of peaceful existence, disturbed only by warmongers like the Jogathians. Well, let's search out those archives in the human datanets and see if we can find a few poster children for our propaganda. Shannara responded. With that, I believe you all have things well in hand on answering ethical concerns. This brings up an interesting point, Drennan said thoughtfully. We were already planning on altering our propaganda to aim it at humans as well. Testing indicates that we might be able to encourage a vocal minority of humans to support our cause. But as you say, current plans lack poster children. I'll assign 3 aides immediately and pass the data and forward the results for your consideration, Shannara. Current projections on existing propaganda, Shannara asked, which Narek actually found insightful rather than the normal ignorance he expected of her. Initial testing indicates a likely 60% favorable sentiment amongst our citizens, rising once we are able to assert military dominance and disseminate appropriately tailored information. Drennan answered quickly. Among the humans, we expect to build a 3 to 5% support with your suggested poster children, sufficient to be vocal and problematic. We will recalculate once suitable candidates are discovered. Counsel Falshek, what's the word on the military side?
Terran data ingestion confirms Narek's previous observations, the shrill voice of the Farshek answered. Their former military starship production platforms are repeatedly discussed as removed from service or mothballed and should not be considered an immediate hidden threat. If reactivated immediately, the platforms and ships they could produce are well out-of-date technology. It would require a refit of 1 to 3 Terran cycles to update and begin assembly of strategically relevant vessels. We have operational first-strike advantage for the foreseeable future, barring any unexpected developments. Here are our current conclusions. We continue to concur with plans to use the Jogathians to decimate 2 or more human colonies to discourage Terran expansion. We continue to concur with shipyard construction and personnel training programs underway, which are on schedule to have our forces ready to attack in less than 1 Terran cycle. We concur with the plans to leak documents to the Terrans indicating a wider Jogathian effort against humanity is underway to focus their military efforts away from us and limit their desire for full military build-up. Given recent concerns voiced by the Galactic Council by humanity, we only question whether such efforts should be done after the current human colony is destroyed or after the 5th and final attack.
I can confirm that Jogathians have attacked the 4th colony earlier today in accordance with their contract, so consideration to Councillor Farshek's concerns should be given prompt consideration. Fleet Commander Erathia said sternly. Noted, Commander. Any known threats to our effort? The High Chancellor's voice called out. Only the obvious, which was originally discussed. Operational security and plausible deniability are paramount, Narek responded.
We need to maintain the secrecy of our involvement in the Chigathian attacks and our pre-war preparations. Discovery of our direct involvement would undercut all efforts, immediately turn humanity against us, and likely poison some of our known citizens. Luckily, the humans are still very open and receptive to my delegation and see the Denarians as close allies. They currently believe my suggestions that the Security Council is being outwardly unhelpful, but behind the scenes is deeply attempting to discover who gave the Chigathians technology disruptors. They are unaware that the colony attacks and the technology disruption to cover all the tracks are separate events. I see no immediate difficulties continuing to lead them in desirable directions.
Very well. Unless there are any other concerns on this topic which require immediate discussion, we'll move on to the Locarian matter, the High Councillor stated with authority. Expect to dedicate the next Shadow Docket meeting entirely to the Terran issue to answer Councillor Feck's concerns and begin strategic pre-deployments. Any objections or concerns? Narek touched agreement on his voting pad and noted that the decision to move on was unanimous. They would be spared any further foolishness from Shinera. Before we conclude this topic, a few additional preparations will be required for our next discussion, the High Councillor said before their tone shifted to Water Command. Councillor Narek, in addition to continuing to work directly with Terran officials, will lead a report estimating an appropriate number of humans to allow to survive the coming conflict. Councillor Dredden will require an initial recommendation on what resources will be necessary for relocation and re-education of humans per 10,000 individuals. Please include recommended ages and biological sexes to assist Councillor Feck in developing military action plans. Moving on, let us discuss the blasted Locarians and what troubles they're causing now. Councillor Narquez, what is your current situation? End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.